the foreign word barn-fi immediately comes to mind, which translates as garage find. And that they might have garage finds, but we don't? Moreover, this is truly a garage find. Yeah, the mirrors and wipers are gone, but they promised to return after the restoration. Technical Inspection 2005. I also had these stickers. Yes, time and dampness did not spare him. But you know, I sincerely envy people who search for and find such cars. And here she is, in front of you. I keep thinking, when will the Muscviches end? I hope never. And here's another one, native, carefully pulled out of oblivion. He's tired, but real. And they say, he's unique. For starters, this Muscvich cargo station wagon. Few trucks were produced at the AZLK for transporting small loads. Well, if compared to sedans. Secondly, those who lived to see the times of cooperation in the 90s and survived them can be counted on one hand. A couple of remarks. AZLK 2734 has been stopped producing. Were not discontinued, but rather stopped producing in 1983. Well, secondly, do you see a lot of AZLK pies? No, here, but we'll be back. So the main thing here, of course, is the body. To be honest, this design is very old, but at the same time, having survived until the mid-70s when they began to develop a new truck, it has not lost its relevance. But initially everything was designed for the 408 Muscvich where, according to the instructions of the party, 3 bodies were to be produced simultaneously, the M426 sedan, station wagon, and the M433 cargo station wagon. This is a technological constructor. The front part is from the base model, more on it a little later, and the rear part is unified with the 2 models that I talked about. The huge stamped roof rests on 4 pairs of pillars. Naturally, the front B pillars are the same for all cars in the family. I would like to say that this is where the magic begins, but it is not here at all, but rather the rationalism of the design. Need a passenger station wagon, hang the doors. You need a cargo truck, weld the long side panels onto the frame, the lower wing and the upper wall. It's this kind of corrugation that added beauty and recognition to the station wagon. Initially, conditionally, they just wanted to weld the window openings of station wagons with steel, but it was scary, to put it mildly. This grader even has its own creator, sculptor, and artist, Muscvich. MOSKVICH. The interior of the body is also reinforced with crossbars adding rigidity and reducing vibrations. But again, you won't see it, since the entire loading chamber is finished with hardboard panels and the ceiling is covered. The floor is level but not completely. The wheel arches protrude, but there are conditionally guides. Sloping rear pillars are also an element of body rigidity, but the 5th door but in this case, the 3rd door has changed. It has become solid. So the trunk is 1,615 millimeters long, the average height is probably about 850 well, and 600 liters of usable volume. So, well, here under the floor. Junk resting space. Tank, rear, tank rear, rear optics, like Dad's. Graceful. For some reason it's just one color, I don't know why. If you look at the car from 3/4, it is divine. Now about the carrier of the elegant stern. This is the AZLK 2140. The integration of the old with the relatively new was painless for both designers and production workers. The reason is simple. 2140 is a deeply modernized Muscvich 408. And if it seems to the average person that new wings and headlights have been added to the old man, you are mistaken. The body was strengthened, work was carried out on passive safety, factory designers, taking into account European requirements, redesigned the appearance, bringing it in accordance with fashion trends. Did you know that 2140 fully complied with European passive safety standards? Now you know. But the engine remained the same. Naturally, they rejuvenated it as best they could. The expansion tank is there in antifreeze. Otherwise, these figures became a curse for the Muscvich plant gasoline inline four-cylinder with a volume of 1480 cubic centimeters. Maximum power 75 horsepower at 5,800 RPM. Maximum torque 108 newtons at 3,400 to 3,800 RPM. V-shaped arrangement of valves, their drive rocker arms. Feature, cast iron sleeves in an aluminum block. I was always touched by the fuses on Muscviches. And yes, Muscvich has been repainted. But how well the roof rails fit in. The 40s were deprived of frilly sparkles. I'm talking about chrome. But there is still a real emblem with a star left here. And the edging around the radiator grille, well, there is also a shiny molding there. But this is exactly the emblem that should be on Muscviches today. So the platform from 40, as I said, was perfect. Moreover, if the sedans were assembled on an assembly line, the pickups were welded separately almost by hand, and it was more expensive. But a large country could afford to do this as it wanted and not listen to marketers and parasites. Safety handles. I like the old ones better. Well, where are you? Everything is obvious in the cabin, but it's worth saying a few words. The length of the seat is quite comfortable, and keep in mind that my height is above the average height of. The seats here are not original. The spare tire in the cabin is divine. In addition, the rear wall separating the luggage space from the passenger compartment is installed with a rational angle of inclination, which allows you to recline the back of the adjustable chair. This wall is also complex. As a part in production, it is stamped and everything else. It is also a strength element of the body. Safety plastic. Laconic round instruments, in my opinion, the only thing missing is probably a tachometer. Shelf near the gear shift knob. Although it's meaningless, it's there. Glove compartment, comfortable, strong, normal. In general, everything you need is there, and what is not there was not there. Yes, the hazard warning light appeared for the first time in Soviet cars at 2140. The suspension here is also archaic for some. For some it's a thing of the past, but for others it's what's needed and reliable. Front independent spring, rear spring. By the way, the rear gearbox is from the sedan axle. But the springs are a little more powerful, but also strengthened their owners in the past. The brakes were progressive at that time. They became front discs. The system is dual circuit. If one counter deflates, 60% of the efficiency will remain. And I will probably be repeating, but I really like the 40th almost sport steering wheel. The 412 is thinner, but the thin steering wheel is a completely different philosophy. What don't I like about it? So this is Muscvich's narrowness in the shoulders. And God be with her, Muscvich in general on this engine is a good closet for its time. The engine needs to be gently raped and then everything is very dynamic. The car confidently accelerates when fully loaded. Control measurements 40 showed that it reaches 80 per hour in 11.8 seconds and gets to 118.4. I think Muscvich 2734 also fits into these numbers. And it is more economical than its direct competitor from AZLK. Brick, heel, and here there is aerodynamics, and there is charm, and the most interesting thing is that, for some reason, nothing bothers you. Although this is probably just my biased opinion towards Muscviches. But the Iron Thundered, he is certainly noble. Everything rumbles, there is no 40 lightness. And the rear axle will actually be stiffer. I'd like to load it up, put 300 kilograms on the stern, and then it will slide along the surface. And so, UAZ. God forgive me. By the way, the tires here, according to the factory, should be Ziguli ones from the two-room M154. This, according to the creators, increased the smoothness of the ride. But no matter how hard they tried to refresh the Muscvich, it remained a car from the 60s. Let's say the gearbox is actually updated from the 408, but still 4 gears. In general, the appearance of the AZLK 2140 and its modifications in the line was forced because advanced modern developments had already appeared in metal. But what happened. In general, the appearance of the AZLK 2140 and its modifications in the line was forced because reliable, simple, beautiful, we are all used to smartphones on wheels, to automatic machines, but we want some kind of simplicity. But the fact that we are accustomed to smartphones and automatic machines is nothing wrong with that. The hunt continues. There was some understatement about Muscviches. And why? Because the new Muscvich is not yet a Muscvich, but the main thing has begun. I hope they succeed at least in something. I really hope so. In the meantime, for starters, at least, change the emblem to Moskvichevskia.